Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're talking about one of the most misunderstood and debated topics in the book of Revelation, the Great Tribulation. Now that phrase can sound mysterious or even intimidating, but my hope is that by the time we're done, you won't feel fear about it. You'll feel hope. Because the message of Revelation isn't about panic, it's about perspective. Let's start with something Jesus said in John 16:33. In this world, you will have tribulation, but take courage, I have overcome the world. That's such an important starting point. See, Jesus never promised that following him would mean an easy life. He didn't say, if you're faithful, everything will go perfectly. He said, you will have trouble. And yet in the same breath, he says, take courage. Why? Because he's already overcome. So when you're facing guilt, Jesus already carried it. When you're facing fear about the future, he's already holding it. When you're lonely, he's already promised to never leave you. When you're struggling financially, he says, my God will supply all your needs. The message is simple but powerful. Jesus has overcome, and because he has overcome, we can face anything. Now with that in mind, let's step into Revelation chapters 6 and 7. John begins to see the Lamb, that's Jesus, opening the 7 seals on the scroll. Remember from earlier in this series that the scroll represents God's plan for human history, his will, his justice, his redemption. And as the seals are opened, 4 riders appear. These are what people call the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Each one represents something humanity has known all too well. The first, the white horse, symbolizes oppressive power, the kind of empire or government that dominates others. The second horse, the red one, represents war and violence. The third, the black horse, stands for famine, the hunger and injustice that often follow war. And the pale horse, the last one, represents death itself. Those horsemen aren't just ancient symbols. They're part of our world right now. You can see them riding through history, in wars, in broken homes, in systems that exploit, in hearts that grow cold. They remind us that evil and suffering are real. But here's what we can't miss. Even as the seals are opened, the scroll never leaves the Lamb's hands. Jesus is still in control. Then John sees another scene, a cry from those who have suffered for their faith. Revelation 6:10 says, they cry out, how long, O Lord, before you judge and avenge our blood? It's the cry of a weary church. God, when will you fix this? When will justice come? When will the pain stop? And God's response is tender but firm. He says, rest a little longer. He's reminding them that he hasn't forgotten. He's still working his plan. Then at the end of chapter 6, John hears this haunting question. The great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? And chapter 7 gives us the answer. John sees a vision of God's people being sealed, 144,000 in all. That number isn't meant to be taken literally. In Revelation, numbers are symbolic, and 12 is often associated with the people of God, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 apostles. So 144,000, 12 times 12 multiplied again, means the complete family of God. It's God's way of saying, every one of my people is known, and every one of them belongs to me. Then right after that, John looks again and sees something even bigger, a great multitude that no one could count. That's Revelation 7:9. People from every nation, every language, every color and background, all standing before the throne, worshiping the Lamb. It's the same people seen from 2 different angles. First, the church on earth, protected through suffering. Then the church in heaven, triumphant in worship. And they're described as the ones who came out of the Great Tribulation. So what does that mean? What is the Great Tribulation? Well, there are two main ways Christians have understood this over the years. Some believe it's a specific 7-year period at the end of time, a time of global suffering and judgment. In this view, evil rises to its full strength, God's wrath is poured out, and then Jesus returns to make all things right. Others believe the Great Tribulation isn't just one event at the end of time, it's the ongoing struggle the church has faced throughout history. The Greek word for tribulation, thlipsis, is used many times in the New Testament to describe suffering believers were already going through. And honestly, that makes sense when you look around the world today. Christians are still being persecuted in dozens of countries. Believers are still suffering for their faith. Trouble, hardship, and opposition have been part of the church's story for 2,000 years. So whether you see the Great Tribulation as something future or something that's been happening all along, the point is the same. God's people may go through hardship, but they will never be forgotten. Revelation 7:14 says, "These are the ones who have come out of the Great Tribulation. They have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb and made them white." See, that's our hope. Whatever we go through, Jesus redeems it. And I love how John ends this section because it brings the whole picture full circle. Revelation 7:17 says, "The Lamb on the throne will be their shepherd, and he will lead them to springs of life-giving water, and God will wipe every tear from their eyes." That's the promise we cling to. One day, no more hunger, no more pain, no more tears, no more fear. The Lamb who was slain becomes the shepherd who heals. So when life feels chaotic, when it feels like the horsemen are riding through your world, remember this. The scroll is still in the Lamb's hands. You can trust him. That's what this whole book is trying to show us. Not the timeline of the end, but the trustworthiness of Jesus. So as we wrap up, think about this. What kind of tribulation are you going through right now? Where do you need to be reminded that Jesus has already overcome? Your host is going to guide you through some discussion around that in just a moment. But before we hand it off, remember this. Whether it's in this life or the next, our shepherd wins. And if he wins, we win with him.